Good evening, good evening.
Hello.
Welcome to Tuesday Talks with the Conways.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Chris. We're so glad to have you all here. Hello, Shelly. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are going to get a little started in a little bit, but we want to give everyone a chance to join. So feel free to comment. Hi, on Instagram we have somebody commenting Lodell9217. Welcome, welcome. Feel free to comment where you're watching from. If this is your first time, we love first time guests. We also have great love for our regulars. So hi, welcome back, Radina. Glad to have you here with us this evening. It's going to be a really good topic. I'm really excited. We're probably going to be a two-parter tonight. Hi, Kay and Naomi. Welcome back. So glad to have you all here.
Lydia.
Yep, Lydia. Yep, Lydia. It's hard to tell on Instagram with the usernames. They're not always matching the names because I know my personal one doesn't. So yes, glad to have you all here. We do have a small announcement next week. We're going to be doing our live broadcast on Monday, 7:30 Central instead of Tuesday. I'm going to be going on a work trip, so we're going to be changing up our day a little bit, but basically the same time, just different day. Welcome, Diane from Newfoundland.
Thank
Yes.
you.
So Lydia mentioned she saw Courtney's transformation Tuesday picture, and it's fantastic.
Thank you. My cousin said I looked snatched.
Yes.
Whatever that means.
I'm
I'm
not sure
not
what that
into
is.
the hip lingo, so
Hi, Joy. We see your comment. You must be switched over to your phone or something. But yes, Courtney is really good about posting those Transformation Tuesdays and face-to-face photos, and I'm not really as good at that. And I really need to. I have one. I have a comparison
we'll
from
have to
a
post it tonight.
yes from a photo that we took over the weekend. We took Kathleen to Disney on Ice, and I got a picture with Kathleen, and I looked and I felt skinny. So I made a collage, but never posted it anywhere. So if you have those posts or have those photos, make sure you share them. So
Yes.
definitely, it's really very helpful. So our topic is going to be in general movement. But tonight we're going to be focusing a little bit more on cardio and the general health benefits of movement. And then next week we'll probably get into strength training and then also building kind of your personal exercise type thing, where to start, how much of what to do and and whatnot. So we're really looking forward to this. It's very important. We actually did this topic at my work. We had a wellness meeting and got a lot of this content from them, and it's really great that employers spend the time to focus on making sure their employees are healthy. So that's great. So hopefully you all have companies that put a lot of energy and money and emphasis on making sure that you're healthy because our health is very important, not just for our jobs but our personal lives too. So I'm really looking forward to this. So kind of just to start off with, we want to talk about the life expectancy. I did some basic searching. So the CDC for America, the basic life expectancy is about 84, 85 years, and that's averaging both male and female. There are some differences in the life expectancy, but what I didn't know about, there's called a health adjusted life expectancy. That's something that I learned new in the wellness session at my job. Was the adjusted health expectancy is basically the what you can expect to live a healthy, independent life. Um, Without having any kind of extra assistance. And for the United States, that is 78.9 years. So there's a gap of 4.1 years there, according to the CDC, where those last 4 years is not really all that good. So one of the things we're talking about, our movement and exercise, having more movement and focusing on exercise and just being more active in general will, in general, help narrow that gap and help you get the most out of your years. And nothing is promised, so there's always surprises and wrenches and stuff that get thrown in there. But being healthy and active will help remove any of those extra obstacles on there. So basically, sorry. So basically, what it means is um, it can help you live more comfortably
Mhm.
longer without having those side effects. Courtney's grandmother, she was in her 90s and she was
92.
living by herself in well into her
Yep, up until
90s.
her like last year of life.
Yes. So that would be, all of our goal is to be able to live independently for as long as possible and extend that healthy because I've seen so many stories about people working so hard their entire lives and then finally getting to retirement age and their health isn't to a place where they're able to enjoy their life. And Cindy mentions quality of life is nice.
Quantity of life.
Quantity of life is nice, but quality of life is important. It's
Yes.
very important. So you work so hard at saving money and getting to retirement age, and then when you get to retirement age, you can't really enjoy it because your health isn't there. So uh, focusing on your health, whether it's your diet or eating habits or your activity, is going to be very important so that you have that quality of life when you're older.
Yes, and tonight we are specifically going to talk about how movement can help reduce a lot of those health related risks and maximize the amount of time you can spend being healthy.
Mhm.
Because, like you said, there's like a 4.5 year age gap where the quality of life is just not the greatest,
Mhm.
and movement can greatly increase your health, which can increase how long you have the better quality
Mhm.
of life.
Absolutely. And so movement in general helps a lot of things. The cardiovascular system, your nervous, skeletal, respiratory, immune, endocrine, and digestive system. So movement helps all of
Everything.
that.
It helps everything.
The whole system. So in some of the research that we've done, general movement, the average American does between 2,000 to 4,000 steps per day.
Which is a little crazy to me because I'm moving all day.
Hmm.
So I get, without trying, I get like 10,000 steps a day. But Chris,
Hmm.
he has to try
It's a
just
lot
to
more
get,
intentional for me.
6 or 7,000 steps
Mhm.
a day. Sorry, there's a little speck on the computer and
It's
it's
right on,
bothering,
right
it's
on.
like right on my nose and it's bothering me.
Yes.
Uh,
But it's crazy. The average seems low, but there's a lot of desk jobs out there. There's people that might be in different stages in life, so they're not able to get out, and they might not have a job. So it can vary. But at 4,000 steps, so that is the higher end of the spectrum. You reduce. And so there's the daily averages. If you're averaging 4,000 steps per day, you reduce your dementia risk by 25% and then reduce your chance of premature death by 10%. So just
and
being on
this,
the higher end of the spectrum.
yes, and this is just by increasing your steps,
Mhm.
which, a lot of people say that steps doesn't matter much because it's not actual exercise, but any movement you're doing is burning calories, it's helping your health out, it's helping everything out
Mhm.
just by doing steps, even if it's not part of an actual
Mhm. Just
exercise.
any steps. So, like we said, we talked about the cardiovascular system, the skeletal, all that stuff. You're moving, you're getting your blood going. So all that stuff is really good. So just being on the upper scale of the average, you reduce your dementia risk and you reduce your chance of premature death by 10%. If you average 6,000 steps per day, you further reduce your chance at premature death by another 10%. And then at 8,000 steps per day, there's another reduction of premature death by 10%. But you'll see the most health benefits at averaging around 10,000 steps. There aren't any further increases higher than 10,000. Granted, we do try to do more than 10,000. Kay has gotten over 14,000. Joy has got over 12,000. So all these are really awesome. But so at 10,000, you kind of plateau the health benefits. But what you get at 10,000 is ideal for reduction in risks for type 2 diabetes, 13 different types of cancers, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. So all those benefits are greatly reduced at just 10,000 steps. And Grant and Courtney kind of gets 10,000 without really trying. I don't.
Hmm.
So it takes a lot more intentional movement for me.
I'm a
Grant,
teacher, so
yes.
I am, like I've mentioned before, I am always moving, whether I mean to or I try to sit down and it doesn't work half the time. Whereas he has a desk job. So,
Mhm,
and then I get home and we have a 5 year old that I'm running around chasing, or I'm cleaning
mhm,
the house, so I'm always moving.
mhm. So things that we're talking about, and we'll talk about more on how you can increase your steps later, but it's more intentional for me. But 10,000 steps It's not impossible.
Mhm.
I see a lot of people here are getting more than 10,000 steps. So
And sorry.
if you can get to 10,000, those are pretty significant reductions in health related issues.
But just to be clear, like, because some people just absolutely cannot get to 10,000.
Mhm.
Any
Any movement
movement, any I can't
increase.
increase,
Yes.
that's the word. Any increase in your steps is helpful. Like you said, even at 4,000, you're already seeing health benefits at just an average of 4,000 a day.
So the goal should be not to get to 10,000 immediately, but
Mhm.
just do more than you did yesterday,
Yes.
kind of thing. So that's really great. So what some of the things that we can that you can do to help increase your steps is try starting and ending your day with 15 minutes or 30 minutes of walking if possible. Try parking further away. We've
Mhm.
tried this. You want to talk about the parking?
Yes. Try parking. Sometimes we'll just park in the furthest spot possible. And our daughter's like, why are we parking here? But I mean, it really like just a little bit adds up every day. Like just walking to to the store could be 300 or 400 steps, and then walking back is another 300 or 400 steps. You've already got almost 1,000 right there. So definitely parking further in the store. I've even heard of people doing an extra lap just around the store,
Hmm.
just walking the exterior of the store like a couple times just to get a little bit of extra movement. Like we said, some people just, I hate saying don't have time for exercise, but some people legitimately do not have time. And I know like you should make time for it, whatever. But some people
There's some
just do not have it.
limitations.
And it's not an everyday thing either.
Mhm.
Like we didn't have time today. Well, he did. I didn't. I worked late today. I've only been home for like an hour. So I have not had time. So I did little things throughout the day, like parking further at work just to get a few extra steps because those few steps here and there do add up.
Mhm. And then somebody on Instagram mentioned that it's kind of difficult with arthritis,
I get that. I have
which
knee
is
issues.
frustrating.
But I will say, and I don't know if my knee issues are arthritis, so I cannot speak to arthritis, but I can say my knee issues, the more active I am, the better it does feel. But there are hard days. Today, I told him like I haven't been as active as I normally am, and today it was rough. So
Mhm.
I get that.
So arthritis and
Arthritis does
other
make it hard.
limitations. So there definitely are some limitations. Um, and there are those that are wheelchair bound that
Mhm.
can't get those physical steps. But the idea here is to just be more active. And there are other ways you can do low impacting movements if you have access to a pool. That is really good for arthritis. The couch to 5K type thing. There are a lot of things that you can do while sitting too, getting a movement with your arm and your
Mhm.
upper body types things
I saw
will really
someone
help.
actually just yesterday at the gym. I saw someone in a wheelchair that was moving forward with like he wasn't using his arms, he was using his feet, and he was just holding weights, and he was literally just. I mean, so you know anything like I mean, you can make it work. It's not always the easiest, but you can make extra movement work no matter what your situation is.
Mhm. Absolutely. So the just got idea is just to try to be as active as possible, and it's just easy to equate things in steps. But then another kind of benefit of the parking. Sometimes you drive around the parking lot 10 minutes just to find a good
Mhm.
parking spot. If you go directly to the further parking spot and walk in,
There's gonna be a far spot.
you can get in there quicker sometimes. If not around the same time as if you were to try to find a parking
Mhm.
spot. So that is a time saving benefit right there too.
Yes, and also like Chris has mentioned, he has a desk job, so it's hard to get steps. But some companies will actually they have what's that
Stipends
stipends
or benefits.
or benefits to help pay for a standing desk. So if you work for a larger company, that is something you could look into because some of them do have that because like Chris mentioned, some companies like will pay extra money and things of that nature just to make sure you're healthy because if you're healthy, you're going to be around for them longer.
Mhm, absolutely. And then another option is to pace while you're working or doing chores. So if you're cooking or doing
Mhm.
laundry, or things you can just kind of be walking in place a little bit there.
Yes, I do this pretty much daily when I'm making dinner, like while it's on the stove, while it's in the oven, I'll just pace back and forth in the kitchen. And like I said, it's just a quick, easy way. Like the steps add up faster than you would think. Like after like 5 minutes, I'm like, wow, I've gotten 1,000 steps. Like it really does add up. I do that more so on days I know I can't go to the gym. But also like I will. Sometimes it'll help me find things to do around the house when I'm just like, I need to move my body. I need to get some steps. And it will kind of force me to like do some housework that I've been putting off because I'm like, I might as well do this so I can get the steps.
Mhm, absolutely. And then also, if possible, use the stairs. Now, granted, if you're going up 6 floors, it's not always going to be a possible time or strength wise. I don't know if I could go up 6 flights.
We did go up 2 flights the other day and I was fine. I was not winded. I was very
We did.
proud of myself.
Yes,
So,
if you've got time and it's 1 or 2 flights or three flights,
mhm.
and you're able to try to use the stairs to avoid the elevator. We actually avoided the elevator coming out and went up the 2 flights because there was long lines. We were coming out of Disney on Ice. There was hundreds of people all coming out at the same time, so there was lines at the elevator. So it physically was quicker, but we also were able to go up those 2 flights of steps without being winded, which is a big win when I would be huffing and puffing from just 1 flight of
Mhm.
stairs at the beginning of a journey. So that right there is pretty good. Yes, Joy mentioned they have an elevator, but she still uses the
They do.
stairs. So awesome. And then so we're gonna talk about cardio, and how cardio it strengthens, in particular, the cardiovascular system and helps keep your heart and your blood vessels healthy. And cardio can be good for weight loss. It can be a good way to burn calories. Um, it is, probably not best for weight loss, although that's kind of my primary focus right now for my overall health journey and my weight loss. But cardio burns calories in the moment, and you have to be actively doing cardio to get benefits to burn those calories and lose that fat. We'll talk about the benefits of strength training next week and the benefits of that. But yes, so one of the things we want to talk about is the intensities of cardio. So a lower intensity of cardio. When you're in zones 1 and 2, and we'll talk about the zones and how to calculate those in a few moments. Zones 1 and 2 primarily use fat for energy. The moderate zones 3 and 4 intensity uses fat and carbohydrates for energy, and then a high intensity, which is zones 5, primarily uses carbohydrates for energy. So
Mhm.
you want to keep an eye on those. We'll also talk about how much to be in each zone when we're talking about building our exercises next week as well. But I wanted to get into yes, Joy mentions if you can get your heart rate to stay within around 150, it gets a really good caloric burn. So we'll talk about how to determine your anaerobic threshold. So, and this is for general purposes only. It's not going to be as
Mhm.
accurate for those that are at the beginning of the journey and then don't have as much cardiovascular fitness. And it's also not going to be as accurate if you're well into your journey and are a lot more athletic. So take 180 and subtract your age to get your anaerobic threshold. You can subtract an additional 10 if you have not been exercising much at all, or add 10 if you've been exercising 4 times per week for the past few years. So I did our calculations. We're about the same because we're about the same age. But I added, what was it? I added 10 because we have been working consistently
Mhm.
4 to 5 times a week for multiple years. So our zone 1 is 60 to 70% of your threshold. So for us, that's around 91 to 106 beats per minute for your heart rate. Zone 2 is 106 to 136. Then zone 3 is 136 to 152, and then zone 4 is 152 through 167, and then zone 5, yes, is 167. So we don't get into to zone 7 very often. So basically, to kind of recap, so you do 180, and then you subtract your age. So she's going to copy. Actually, I might just copy and paste this whole
Oh,
thing
that
in the
works.
notes.
That'd
Uh,
probably be easier than me typing it out.
yeah, so I'll copy and paste this whole thing and then put it in the comment section. It'll show up on Facebook and Facebook and YouTube, but won't probably show up in in Instagram. But we'll try to see if we can make a post about it too. Um, so and then I'll comment put on this one as well. Um, and these again are estimates for the average person, so it can definitely differ on how how far you are in your journey. Um,
Yes, like you said, this is just like he. I
an
guess I'm just
estimate.
reiterating what he just said. It is an estimate. So like somebody that's been working out for a long time or can go more intensely can obviously do more
Enjoy to
with.
your point. You're probably a lot more active than the average
Mhm.
51-year-old. So at 129, you're probably not working very hard. And the more active you are, the more difficult it can be to increase your heart
I
rate.
was just about to say that. I am finding that the more active I am, like used to, I could get on the treadmill and do like 3 miles per hour, which for me is fast. And my heart rate would instantly go up to like 160. Now I'm doing 3 miles per hour and my heart rate's like 120, 130. And I'm like, I want it to
Mhm.
get up because I want it to get to where I'm getting a good caloric burn. Um, and it is harder. So you definitely have to go more intense the longer you've been going.
Mhm.
So that's definitely probably why you are having to you feel like you need because your just heart rate is just
Yep.
not getting there without a really intense workout because you've been working out so long.
And if you have a harder time, sometimes getting your heart rate up, you can still work out at a lower heart rate, but work a little bit longer. When I'm not on a treadmill, I have issues running outside. It's easier for me to run on a treadmill. So when I'm doing my walks outside and I'm power walking, I used to be able to get in like 140s, 150s heart rate, but now I struggle getting above 120. So sometimes when I don't have access to a treadmill and I can't run and I do walking outside, I'll just walk longer. So I did 30 minutes on my lunch break today. I did a mile and a half. And then afterwards, while I was waiting for Courtney to get home from working late, I did 45 minutes and did a little over 2 miles there. So I did a total of 3.7 miles outside, but over a period of an hour and 15 minutes. Um, so yes, go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to also say sometimes you also just need to switch up your workouts. Like if your body's just used to doing the same thing, like sometimes just switching it up will help.
Do stairmasters if you're
Hmm.
used to you're
Do
used
the
to the
elliptical.
elliptical rower. Haven't done a stairmaster in a long time, and I probably would die
I can't do it because of my
on there.
knees.
Yes, I did at one point
He used to do the
a lot.
Stairmaster all the time. I
Yeah,
can't do it longer than like 2 minutes. My knees start to hurt too bad.
yep. So just change it up, and then what was I going to mention? There was one other thing that I specifically wanted to mention before we moved on. Um, I don't know. I lost my place. Must not have been the point. I'll probably remember it after we
Yep.
end the live. Um, oh yes, there it is. It's above that. So if you want a more accurate rate, you can go to a doctor to have them do a test and get to calibrate your zones more specifically for you and for your health rate. This right here is just an average and a guide to get you started. But
Hmm.
absolutely, if you want a more accurate anaerobic threshold, you can go to a doctor and have them run some tests and get that for you, so that way
Yeah.
you can be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, because like Joy said, she's 51 and hers will be a lot lower than she feels like it should be. So for her, hers probably could be a lot higher because of her working out a lot more intensely and a lot more
Mhm.
often.
Yeah, absolutely. So the more active you are, the more athletic you are. This is not going to be quite as accurate. So it might be best to go to the doctor, but this is still a good average to get you
Hmm.
going.
Absolutely.
So yes, so that's basically all that we really had time to talk about today. So we talked about the heart rate and then steps of movements
And the benefits.
and the health benefits. It's crazy. Reducing your um risk 50% for
Dementia.
dementia is absolutely nuts. There's some I have some family members that have struggled with that, and that kind of scares me. So going in to reduce my risk is definitely
Hmm.
going to help me a lot. So next week,
And also one more thing.
yes,
Just to clarify, just because like sometimes things are just genetic
yeah, and you can't.
and because I don't want anybody to be like, well, this person had dementia or this or that, or so obviously they weren't healthy. There are obviously factors beyond your control, but the whole purpose of this is to
To
say to
minimize.
minimize the risks as much as possible. Because like we said, things do happen.
Mhm,
But there's no harm in trying to make yourself healthier in
mhm,
general.
absolutely.
Um,
So that's just to say that no matter how healthy you are, you still might not be able to avoid anything. But at the very least, you're reducing your
Mhm.
risk, and that's definitely going to be beneficial. So next week we'll talk about um, building exercise plans and how much you should do each thing, generally, and then how often you should be spending in each zone. Be talking about strength training and some other benefits to kind of wrap up our movement exercise. So now let's go ahead and we don't have a lot of time. We've got like 4 minutes left. We'll talk about our recipe that Courtney
Yes.
has for
This
us.
is another breakfast one because people really enjoyed the breakfast one
I
last
love
time.
breakfast. Breakfast is my favorite.
But it's also another tater tot casserole because I love tater tot casseroles.
Yeah, they're easy.
Yes. But for this one, you need 6 ounces of Canadian bacon. It's a typical like pack. Like I found that's what a typical pack is, Canadian bacon you get from the store. 8 large eggs, a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, a medium onion chopped, a cup of fat-free shredded cheese or whatever kind. I always put fat-free on here just because it's got the like less fat, less calories, all that. You can use reduced fat or full fat. We typically use full fat or reduced fat from Aldi because that's the best reduced fat cheese. I will die on that hill. And a pound of tater tots. That's half of a typical like bag of tater tots. Preheat the oven to 350. Chop up the Canadian bacon and the onion. To that, add eggs, Greek yogurt, and then add all that to a mixing bowl. Mix it very well. Add all the other remaining ingredients into the egg mixture and mix again. Add all of it to a greased 9 by 13 baking dish and bake for 40 minutes or until eggs are cooked, the top is golden, and the tater tots are no longer cold and hard or frozen.
It's delicious. We've actually meal prepped this or something similar to it 2 weeks in a row.
It's our current hyperfixation breakfast. We're out of tater tots, so we might need to get more.
Yeah, so I have to figure something out. But we made a whole dish and we made it into 6 servings.
So
and
we've been eating off like tomorrow's our last day of it because it's 2 of us. But this makes 6 servings.
So it's 3 days worth of breakfast for us.
This makes 6 servings between 6 and 9 bites, 340 calories, 21.2 net carbs if you're on the keto plan. And 26.5 grams protein. You can bulk it up. You can add cottage cheese to it, or you can add a different kind of meat or extra egg whites. We've actually last time I made this exact recipe, I did add extra egg whites to bulk up the protein a little bit.
You could also make it in smaller servings. You could do 8 servings to stretch it out farther. Because you could also add some healthy fruits or something else on the side to help stretch it out. So yes, this is a delicious meal. We really love it.
And as usual, I know I talk fast. This will be on Healthy's Instagram and Facebook page tomorrow if you would like the recipe and if I talked too fast and you didn't get the screenshot.
Yes, absolutely. And we will also, just as a reminder, we're going to be doing our live next Monday at 7:30.
Same time, just different day.
Yes. So Healthy will post the day of as a reminder, just in case you might forget. But please don't miss it.
Yes, we would be doing part 2 of our movement.
Absolutely. But if you do happen to miss it, these are going to be living and recorded on YouTube, as well as the podcasts will be migrated over to Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts if you want to listen to us on the go. So if you do happen to miss it because of the different day, you'll still be able to catch the recording. All right. Thanks so much for joining us. Have a wonderful week.
Guys.
Bye.